Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are currently in the Astrologicum in Ishgard to continue our Astrologian quest into its Stormblood part. And it begins as usual with Junkinat here. East meets west. The top of the morning to you, Desiree. Or is it the evening? It's so hard to tell, locked up here in the Phantom day and night. Alright. Technically speaking, I can leave at any time of my choosing, but it is as if some strange force prevents me from stepping forth into the light. But enough of that. You are here to learn what became of your humble companions while you were off saving the realm. Well, since Ishgard's quite abrupt change in leadership, the world has become somewhat more receptive to the contemporary ideas of Master Rufin. They've even asked our compatriot in disguise to hold for them another symposium on Sharlayan astrology, and this time within the city state proper, and not on some forsaken hamlet. Nothing against the fine citizenry of Falcon's Nest, mind you. In fact, the good Rufin has foreseen your arrival in the stars and awaits you in the observatorium. The look on your face tells me you're less than convinced. Still the skeptic after all we've been through together, huh? Allow me to recreate this morning's reading. In the center of the dawn cross we have a spear. To its left the inverted arrow, to its right the inverted balance. Beneath we have the inverted spire and the inverted bowl, and finally at the crown is the ewer. Well, do you not see it? It is plain as the stench of days-old piss in the broom on a balmy summer eve. Though peace has settled upon our great land, it will be along the path of coming destruction that friends new and old shall discover the bush that doth bear the fruit of knowledge and hope. And to think it was you who attuned to all 6 heavens. In other words, she who brought peace to Ishgard, that would be you, will walk the road south to the observatorium where, I don't know, you shall read some books with Lady Leveva to discover a new spell for delivering excruciating pain to your enemies and their families? It all sounded more convincing when she explained it to me this morning over that bottle of wine. Or was it 2 bottles? At any rate, I would suggest you make haste. You know how our little protégé does not take kindly to those who make her wait. It's good seeing you again, Desiree, and something tells me you'll be back again soon. Wink. Good. Then to the Central Highlands. And the observatorium. Good. Lady Leveva, or Master Rufin rather, as she wants to be called now. A friend and fellow astrologian, it's good to see you again. What has it been? 2? 3? Let's say it has been too long. Did Junkinat speak to you of my reading? Well, then there's hope in that well-dressed dullard yet. Though I've learned the key to success is not entrusting him with more than one task at a time, making certain that task does not require much in the way of thinking, or acting for that matter. As for the reading, I believe it instructs as to our next step in spreading the knowledge of Master Rufin. An injured traveler has arrived at our gates seeking succor. An ill omen. With me, Desiree. Please, I can walk no further. The stars were kind to guide you to this place. The astrologians here have ways of easing one's hurts. Astrologians? I have no need of prophecy or prognosticate. Oh, I could stay my tongue and allow you to tend to my wounds. My apologies. May you have a quick recovery, friend. In time you will come to believe the power the stars wield. Lady Master Rufin, Desiree's felicitous return inspired me to step out for a breath of fresh air, and behold, already does it appear a new adventure is upon us. And here I was thinking you made the journey south to lend your talents in preparing for a forthcoming symposium. Master Rufin, or was Lady Leveva? If I may, allow me to give you my thanks and my apologies for earlier. I have a tendency to allow your unbridled emotions to get the best of you. That was amazing. You knew what I was going to say before I even said it. But where are my manners? I'm Kyokuho of Hingashi, and I've braved storm and sea to learn of the many wonders it is said are to be found in this magnificent realm. But you already knew that, didn't you? No, I did not. Now, if you would excuse me, I must get back to matters which are important. Important matters such as astrological matters? Could you show me? I wouldn't be a burden. I'd stand in the corner, in the shadows, behind a curtain. While I appreciate the somewhat forced enthusiasm, I'm afraid that won't be Oh, I was merely hoping that we might be able to share insight into each other's fields. Each other's fields? You wouldn't happen to be a geomancer, would you? A geomancer? A so-called masters of wind and water, my grandfather had a tome written on the far eastern art of elemental and directional divination. Though much of it seemed little more than folklore. Lady Leveva, did not this morning's readings mention friends new and old? What if Desiree were the friend old and this peculiar little man the friend new? The spear pointing west, the balance pointing east, the arrows pointing in all directions, and none just might mean... Kyokuho, though it pains me to admit as much, it appears your arrival has been foretold. Perhaps there is much that I can learn from you, nay, that we can learn from each other. Oh, but there is. Soon you will learn the push and the pull of the elements bring together those who require companionship most. Yes, the elements. We'll have to discuss it further at another juncture. For the time being, I'm placing you in the care of my first and foremost pupil, Desiree. An excellent proposal, or as I believe the Hingashi say, Kikaku. I dabbled a bit in the language when I was younger, but for the life of me, that ebon-haired emissary would not afford me even a sidelong glance. Then might I hazard that there is no finer place to begin unlocking the secrets of the stars than under the bowl near Roots Lake? I shall even lead good Kyokuho to the South Shore myself, if Desiree agrees to do the rest. After you then. Next we meet, Kyokuho. You will have opened the first gate and better understand the influence the stars hold over all of us. Safe journeys. If this all goes according to plan, or Kekaku or whatever, then not only will the Easterner teach me his people's secrets, but he will help spreading the art of my homeland across the 3 great continents to the far shores of Offord. It all begins here, under the earthly stars. By opening the gates to the first heaven, we embark on a journey to self-enlightenment, to self-betterment, to unlock secrets untold. Finishing that journey now was another matter altogether. My lady, it's an honor to defend you once again. There you are. I was beginning to wonder if you hadn't been eaten by the hoverflies on your way here. But I just. Junkinard tells me that you are quite the authority in all things relating the bowl. So enlighten me, oh honorable sensei. I'm, as you Westerners say, all eyes. Or was it ears? So you say the bowl offers strength to the weak. Intriguing. So this is your bowl. In the Far East we know of a constellation as something different, but know it all the same. I must admit, however, that seeing it in a different sky than my own fills my heart with a sense of both wonderment and now confusion, knowing what it represents to your people. What I cannot wrap my head around is that you would truly believe in notions so foolish as that the power of Earth, a word that by your own definition means soil, would not come from the land itself, but rather from the 6 tiny lights flickering in the night sky. We students of geomancy believe that such power naturally lies beneath our feet, ever flowing through creation, as blood does through our veins. Yet despite the differences in our thinking, the similarities are encouraging. All trees are born of the earth, and the protection is universal. A most thought-provoking opinion, as I'm certain Lady Leveva will be delighted to hear. Though, might I suggest you withhold that part about being unable to wrap your head around our foolish notions, unless you enjoy having a steel-toed boot wedged firmly betwixt the bollocks. Shall we be going then? By this hour, Lady Leveva will have already made the journey back to the Phenom. I was just speaking with these fine ladies regarding their thoughts on the Charlian School of Astrology. Your name came up quite often. Everyone here seems to think very highly of you. Of Junkinat, not so much. Our far extended friend has quickly become acquainted with many of the Phenom's female apprentices, who all seem smitten with his exotic locks and trappings. Not that I'm jealous. Why would I be jealous? I'm of House Durandare, third in line to my uncle's title. Was it second? The most eligible badger in all the sea. Leveva? Over there. My thanks for taking the Hingan off my hands. Not because I think our visitor an annoying little braggart with all the manners of a kobold foundling, which I still do, but because I needed the time to finish my work without distraction. So tell me, what did I miss? I see. Perhaps I judged Kyokuho too hastily. I still have my reservations, but I shall afford him the benefit of a doubt. For now. The teachings of geomancy may be grounded in fairy tales and falsehoods, but my grandfather told me that every lie is born of a truth. If I can find the truth within Kyokuho's backwards beliefs, it may provide insight into our own school of thought. And you might not be so arrogant, Leveva, because the story of how the gods of Eorzea made the star, whatever, is pretty much nonsensical to a foreigner as well. I see now that my choice to assign you as his tutor was a wise decision. Might I ask this of you, Desiree? I promise that once the symposium has ended, I shall assume the duties of Kyokuho's tutelage. I sense good fortune in our stars, my friend. Good fortune indeed. The next quest is at level 63, which we already hit quite a while ago. Leveva, let's continue. Ride like the wind. Desiree, I see you received my summons. You didn't receive my summons? Drive them at Junkinat to the 7th hell and back. He's going to... Forgive me. There shall be sufficient time for the condemnation of his soul after 11th Beltards. For now, I must speak to you of Kyokuho's training. Despite appearances and attitude and manners, and courting habits, our traveler from the east has proven quite motivated in the study of our ways. In fact, while you were off doing whatever it is you do, he successfully opened the next 4 gates of heaven. Anyway, preparations for the symposium have left me with little time to pick the boy's mind, but I have nevertheless managed to fully grasp the primitive concept of geomancy. In fact, I plan on incorporating several of the ideas as anecdotes to my presentation. It's what my father would have wanted. Now, as to why I've called you here, Kyokuho is very close to attuning to the final heaven, the spear, and I think it only fitting that his instructor be there to accompany him during his finest moment. And because I'm obviously too occupied at the moment, I thought perhaps you could join him in my stead. When it's settled, you shall guide young Kyokuho on his final steps to glory and enlightenment, just as I did you those many moons ago. Follow me outside, Desiree, and let's bring our friend the good tidings together. Where is he? Not here, apparently. That's odd. I could have sworn he was right here but a moment ago. Fleury? Have you seen Kyokuho? Fleury, are you even listening to me? If it is our Hingan novitiate you seek, He hurried out via Phantom's side entrance not 5 heartbeats past. It was quite animated, even more than usual. A veritable one-man mama's tragedy, all full of jumping and flailing and pumping of fists. What could have unsettled the boy so? I suppose it might have been that letter I handed him? It was delivered just this morning. Kyokuho skimmed over it quickly, asked me several cursory questions about the heaven of ice, to which I gave several cursory answers and then was gone. And you did not try and stop him? Why would I? He was leaving. But, bah, if my intuition is correct, and it usually is, something in that missive has led Kyokuho to believe he does not have much time left in Eorzea, and so it set out for the steel vigil that he might open the final gate and complete his training before he departs our realm. Desiree, it looks as if our plan is already set in motion. To the Central Highlands. Steel vigil. And he's under attack. Desiree, this was the second time you saved me from my folly. Well, technically speaking, it's the first. You were merely standing around as Lady Leveva healed my wounds last time. Right. I'll stop here. I know it makes little sense to leave without saying anything, despite the fact that you, Lady Leveva and Junkie Nut, all were mere yams from where I stood. But some stories are already told, and who are we to struggle against the ebb and flow that carry us ever toward our fates? Alright, that was a poor excuse. The truth is, I've been summoned back to my homeland and was too ashamed to face those who had shown me so much support. So I thought to come here, open the gate to the final heaven, and then take the next trading galley out of Ulda before any of you realized I was gone. As you can see, things did not unfold as planned. But since you're here, perhaps we could have one last session for old time's sake? It's blessings. It's better for a foreigner. And I already said what I think about the stories behind that. I see both power and compassion, the yin to the other's yang. It is as if the more I learn of your stars, the less I know. To think this may be the last I ever see of your heavens. I'm beginning to understand why your people treasure them so. With the opening of the 6th, I prepared my mind and soul for the 7th. The final gate that leads to true dominion over the elements, or so Lady Leveva insists. Our conversations have been eye-opening, to say the least. She theorizes that our two schools may actually be one and the same. The Astrologians look to the stars above to read their fates. The geomancers look to the star below and listen to its song and draw our answers from its whispers. While I'm certain my masters back in Hingashi would cringe upon hearing that a Westerner of not 20 summers believes she has grasped 1,000 generations of teaching, I'm more willing to indulge her eccentricities now, but I know she means no ill will. I only wish that we would have had more time to possibly see There was some way we could have combined our knowledge to create something new. Something the world has never before seen. With that, I bid you, Lady Leveva, Whimperain, Muguniel, the soft-skinned Flore, the sweet-lipped Huret, that tall chap on the second floor, always mumbling about some star's magnitude, even Junkinat, the fondest of farewells. I have a long journey ahead of me, and if I do not leave now, I fear I will never be able to. Okay, back to the Phenom. You're back, but I do not see Kyokuho. Is he out fawning over Flore again? He left. Back to Hingashi. I cannot say this was unexpected. The deck of 60 told me as much this morning. That and I asked Junkinat what was written in the letter. What, you thought him above reading another's correspondence? You give him far too much credit when honest due. Kyokuho was not a child. He knew what coming to Eorzea would entail, and he knew he would one day need to return to his homeland. And while we may not always agreed, alright, almost never agreed, I did come to respect the man and his steely resolve. Allow him his space. If the stars deem it fitting, then he will be back. Or perhaps next it will be our turn for a journey over storm and sea. He's gone? Without saying goodbye? I cannot believe it. I will not believe it. Oh, what I would not give to have but one last moment with my brother. My soulmate, my... Lady Leveva told you I read his letters. Well then, yes, it will pay me to tell the other novitiates that Kyokuho has returned to his native lands, far away on the other side of the world. May even need to personally comfort those most stricken with grief by a sudden and tragic departure. But truth be told, I'm going to miss having the Hingan around. He certainly did liven the place up. Godspeed, Kyokuho. May your return journey leave you miserable and wet, but see you safely home. Come rain or shine. While your visit fills my heart with joy, Desiree, I cannot bring myself to smile knowing that the Lady Leveva is troubled so. Though she should be spending these final days before the symposium, placing the final touches on her address to her vault, she instead spends her time wandering about the pillars in a daze, mumbling to herself about earth, wind and water. I fear that Kyokuho's departure has left a gap in Lady Leveva's heart that she knows not how to fill. I've tried at length to set her mind at ease, but one need not be a reader of stars to guess how well that ended. Perhaps if you spoke with her, she would finally listen to reason? Find Leveva. Hey. Desiree, to what do I owe the honor? Now let me guess, our good friend Junkinan asked you to talk some sense into poor addle-padded Leveva? Pretty much, yeah. Oh, goody. Today I have the privilege of being lectured by both of you. Wait, Lady Leveva and Desiree, imagine finding you two out here in this fair morning. Enough of a theatrics, Jan. I know your play here, and as I've told you time and again, I've not forgotten my duties to the Athenaeum or my obligations to the Symposium. I simply need time to think. Alone. To which I keep replying, why think alone when you have one of the greatest minds in the realm at your disposal? And Desiree. The greatest minds, huh? Then riddle me this. Why are the results of my readings from that day both Desiree and Kyokuho arrived still weighing on my mind? Why does it feel as if I'm missing or misinterpreting some devilishly important detail? Peace comes, friends are made, dangerous paths are trodden, knowledge is gained. Kyokuho and Desiree both arrive at the Dragonsong War's end. Desiree saves Kyokuho from death at the Steel Vigil, and knowledge of geomancy is shared with the Athenaeum. Yes, but what if the coming destruction told by the inverted spire was not the incident at the Citadel, but something else, something far more grave? Then that would mean the prophecy's fruit of knowledge and hope was not Kyokuho's stories of his art, but something different. Something we'll only see by continuing on this perilous path. But is it truly the path that is disastrous, or our decision to pursue it? At the end of the path of disaster is hope. Exactly what I was thinking. Only for the avoidance of some unforeseen peril will hope and knowledge be acquired. And I believe the disaster in question has something to do with Kyokuho's return home, if not the return itself. It could also mean that our friend is in danger. I see where you're going with this, and while I loved our red-robed ruckus rouser as much as anyone, except Fleury perhaps, a journey at this time would mean the cancellation of our symposium, without any chance of a Holy See ever taking us seriously. And now you can see why I've been here day and night, biting my nails to the quick. I apologize. A lack of sleep can work ill on one's humors, but I think your intervention here today may have provided me a solution to our predicament. A solution that I'm now kicking myself for not having come to earlier. A solution I myself proposed not days ago when deciding how I might attend Kyokuho's opening of a XIV. Desiree will travel to Hingashi. The reading did only mention friends old and friends new. I recall nothing in there about silver-haired astrologians from Charlian. But how do you propose Desiree find our charge? For each is a big place. Perhaps we could write a letter? Yes, and address it to Kyokuho, Hingashi. No, you dullard. We have something far better. We have the stars and our undying faith that they will guide us to that which we seek. Or Desiree could start her search in Kugane, the port city from which Kyokuho claimed he came, focusing on locations which serve as exceptional venues for stargazing. A pastime our friend warmed to during his stay with us. Or Desiree could... No, wait, that's actually a decent proposal. Desiree, you have your quest. May the stars guide you too. Oh, and I will expect reports. Many reports. John has returned to the preparation... Alright, maybe after a few bells of rest first. And travel to Kugane. Now, let's see. Kugane is packed like a warehouse with multi-storied hostels and tea houses, so the cobbles will never afford a man a decent view of the skies. No, if you want to see the heavens in all their glory, you must needs to make your way up. Take the bridge behind me. There, atop that mighty span, the stars await. She faces directly west of Kugane Castle, out toward the Ruby Tide and offered beyond. It's said her location was determined by a great geomancer who told the first Bugyo. Placing it there would ensure the city's prosperity for generations to come. Okay. When I wish to walk under the stars, I go with my promise to the Tasogara Bridge spanning on pier. The melting of crimson into indigo is a sight you will not soon forget. So we go to the bridge. If it's the stars you seek, then you need only look up. But if it's a fool you seek, one who calls himself a master of wind and water, when in fact he is nothing more than a cheat, a lie, and a disgrace to our noble profession, then perhaps you might find the rat where all rats hide, near the piers. I see someone has taken my spot. Might just have to slit her throat and toss her body to the tide. I'm pulling your arm. Desiree, or was it ear? You Westerners have such odd sayings. What brings you so far from home? Offer my help. A path fraught with disaster, misfortune, impending doom. Well, yes, the situation may not be as encouraging as my jovial demeanor suggests. It all began several decades ago when Bakufu decided they were opening the port to foreign trade vessels. To accommodate the influx of ships, a section of ancient coastline forest was cleared. However, doing so angered the entity who had guarded the wood for countless generations. A golden fox named Kinko. A great battle ensued, but claws and fangs were no match for cold steel. Kinko was slain and the new port completed. The fox's spirit, however, remained, spoiling our milk, withering our crops, causing storms that dashed ship after ship against our rocky cliffs. In desperation, the Bakufu turned to the land's most powerful geomancer, my great-grandfather, Kazan. Kazan used the power of the sea, the skies and the land to soothe the spirit long enough that he could erect an invisible barrier that not only protected the city, but ensured that it would prosper. At once the fortunes of Kugane's citizenry turned. My great-grandfather was hailed as a hero, and geomancy as the savior of our nation. Within a matter of moons, the streets were lined with stalls and tents of would-be seers, where people practically throwing coin at them for their advice and blessings. These pretenders, these charlatans, were not interested in the sacred rites passed down by my great-grandfather from his great-grandfather and his great-grandfather before him. They were not interested in maintaining the barrier that preserved Kugane's luster and drove back the power that could see it fall. No, they were more interested in lining their pockets, and now the bonds that hold the barrier in place are about to break. There's none left with the knowledge to mend them, the knowledge that died with the passing of my grandfather. And so I set out to convince the geomancers of Kugane that only united would we discover the means to save our fair city, that only united would we stave off the darkness and bring lasting prosperity to one and all, that only united would my great-grandfather's legacy live on. Alas, I failed. Branded the deceiver were those very men and women who had ground fat on deceit. Unable to mend the bonds myself, nor rouse my peers to action, I stood on this very bridge and fought on an answer. And when I saw it in the setting sun, my answer lay in the west. And so I packed my bags and headed to Eorzea in search of something, anything that might help me save Kugane. I believed that something astrology, but before I could be certain I was summoned home. This you already know. Since then, I've been coming here every night, hoping the stars might provide me with another revelation. But they remain silent. Desiree, the heavens speak through you. Tell me, what do they say? Solve your own problems. Restore the barrier, mend the barrier. It's effectively the same when we assume that his theory that they are basically the same discipline, just practiced in a different way. I admit it was a long day, but did you not hear a single thing I even said? If I could mend the barrier myself, I wouldn't have traveled halfway across the world in the first place. Wait, but I did travel halfway across the world and I didn't come home empty-handed. If I learned one thing while in Ishgard, it was that Western astrology is in many ways a complement to geomancy. Used together, they might work. After all, you need only use your aspected benefic and you can mend any injury, is that not so? No, really, I'm genuinely asking. The lesson explained the finer details of a star's power and how to harness it. It was conveniently scheduled for the day after I returned home. But you know it all. Tell me you can help repair the barrier. I did it, great-grandfather. I found a way to make things right. Well then, we have no time to lose. My great-grandfather created this barrier by anchoring the energies of wind, water and earth to 4 shrines located in the north, east, south and west ends of the city. It is where the bonds must be repaired. We shall begin by the nearby westerly shrine on the short pier. Good. Okay, we have a instance. This is one of the shrines of which I spoke. It may not look like much, but if it were to be destroyed, the entire city would be overrun with large testicled raccoon dogs and flying rainbow cats, or possibly just angry spirits. My plan is simple. If I'm correct, aspected benefic will intertwine with the barrier's geomantic energies, mending it as easily as it does flesh. We shall wait until nightfall to perform the rite, for the last thing we need is a drunken Ronin breaking your concentration. Alright. Quickly, check the shrine and tell me its condition. Doesn't look good. It's worse than I thought. The speed of which the bonds deteriorate increases with each passing day. At this rate, they will not survive through the next new moon. The magic is entwined, like 2 halves of a whole. From the heart of a mountain to the eye of a storm. So do the waters flow till lasting bridges form. To the next shrine. You'll find it deep in Kusui Gardens, to the south of here. So where the embassies are. You know what to do. Attune with the shrine to determine the extent of a bond's damage. Servant of a fox? Or many of the first westerly bond must have alerted to our presence. Focus is required to complete the seal, and my heart will not rest easy until the restful spirits are sent back to the land. Now, before more spirits are summoned. That wasn't so bad. Now step aside, I shall complete the ritual. From the heart of a mountain to the eye of a storm. So do the waters flow to lasting bridges form. That's half. At this rate the barrier will be at full strength before sunrise. Onward to Rogane Castle. More spirits. It appears I spoke too soon. Kyokuho knows what we do and sending her minions out in force to stay our hand. Try and stray not too far from my side. Not for your safety, for mine. There's the shrine. More guardians. There's no end to him. I knew that Rogane had a bloody history, but to think that this many dead still lingered. My ice friend, I must now concentrate on the anchor. From the heart of a mountain to the eye of a storm. So do the waters flow to lasting bridges form. There's but one shrine remaining, the Northerly. As you know, or do not, the north is where all ill fortune gathers. I expect the most resistance there. Prepare yourself. Probably here where the spirits are. Yeah, and back there is the shrine. A wave foul doesn't have the dark. It doesn't know how to try it, does it? Look out! cannot breathe easily until your magics are cast and I have completed the rite. Hurry! Deep breath, Kyokuho. You can do this. We did it. We repaired my great-grandfather's barrier and thwarted the golden fox. A fine display. Fine indeed, though if it were I might have used gravity instead of malefic, the foul creatures that... right. I'll just be staying with Tonk of mine again. Kyokuho, I was told there are spirits in the streets. And you have acted just as they were vanquished. Unfortunate, yes, Master Murakumo. The bonds are mended, made whole with western magic and a little shoulder grease. Or was it knuckle grease? Desiree? Western magic. And this Aegean lady is... none other. Wait until you see the reinforced bonds. The energies twist together with ours like sun and moon, like darkness and light. They are as one, Master. And I was right to summon you home. Pardon my intrusion, traveler. I'm Murakumo, second pupil of the great Kazan and instructor of young Kyokuho here. But with Kugane safe, I can now return to Ishika to complete my training as an astrologian. Huzzah! Absolutely not. While you have mended the weakened bonds for now, the ephemerality remains. Unless you expect your friend here to remain in Kugane for the remainder of her life, we need to find a more permanent solution. In other words, the bonds must be laid anew. But you know as well as I, the secret of laying those bonds died with my grandfather. Not a day goes by that I do not suffer the burden of my ineptitude. They have shown promise in the art as your grandfather did. Perhaps Kazan would have entrusted me with the knowledge as well. But he did not, and now they are both gone. We can lament that which we cannot change, or we can put aside our past failures and seek the path which leads us forward. My master is right. Perhaps there's something in my grandfather's tomes, or perhaps I must still find a way to win over the other geomancers to our cause. There's always help, is there not? If anything, you've given us time to search for an answer, and for that I'm grateful. The city would be as well if I knew you had saved them from an army of angry waves looking to devour their souls and defecate their bones straight into the darkest of hells. In his haste to find a difficult answer, he looks past the simple one right before his eyes. It may take Kyokuho time to realize it, but you are the hope which you seek. In time, you will come to see it as well. Good. Speak with Kyokuho. Though it was but a single generation past, the people of Kugane have already forgotten that the prosperity they experience is not the result of some serpent-tongued swindlers, but of the humble efforts of true geomancers like Kyokuho's great-grandfather. So, I guess it's farewell? Unless that is... you're staying? I stay. You're staying? She's staying! Must she staying? What changed your mind? No, don't tell me. Knowing that you will be here with me and Master Murakumo is enough. I was beginning to worry what I would do the next time the city was invaded by Kinko's minions. The Master can barely make its way out of a privy each morning, let alone battle bloodlusting specters. Now that you mention it, this all reminds me of that reading Lady Leveva conducted the morning I arrived at the observatory. Something about friendly paths lined with dangerous fruit bushes winding their way to hope? Could the stars truly have predicted all this? If so, I'm impressed. I will need to think more on the issue. Until then, might I suggest you continue refinement of your art here in scenic Hingashi? You'll find our beast just as formidable as yours in the West, if not doubly so. Alright, but I think I end the episode here, and we continue this next time. Until then, I'm Mason. Don't get lost.